And so the day has finally come, the day where I sit down and talk to you guys about adulting. And this video is sponsored by my friends at Visible. Let's get into it. Greetings internet, it's Katie and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is something that I did not know I was even capable of making because I feel like I am such a phony adult sometimes. Like I have total imposter syndrome when it comes to being, a self-sufficient, overall confident adult because I still feel like there's things I don't know how to do. But you know what? I think the secret, or the thing that no one really tells you about being an adult is the fact that no one really knows what they're doing. Like even the most established adults don't know what they're doing or have days where, it's a complete throwaway. They just mess up, screw up, and don't know even simple things or, screw up simple tasks. I feel like that's just life. At the end of the day, I feel like I do have some important, valuable lessons under my belt that I want to share with you guys. So today's video is all about adulting. I'm going to take you through some of my darkest times of not knowing how to do simple things like mailing a check. Guys, I'm not even kidding. I was trying to, writing a check was the first difficult task, and then having to mail said check. This sounds ridiculous, but I struggled trying to figure out how to put the envelope into the mail slot, like the blue little post office. I could not figure out what. And luckily I do have some support for this video, someone else who understands that adulting is hard. This video is sponsored by Visible, which is the US's first all-digital phone carrier. So basically they have all of the phone services you could possibly want and need on an all-digital platform, which you can have literally on your smartphone. So I literally have the app downloaded on my phone. I feel like a lot of times with phone service, we just kind of, sign up for the plan that our parents use and just expect to pay X dollars, like $100 a month or so, and we just think that's how it's supposed to be and how it needs to be. But with Visible, I actually realized I could be paying $40 a month for all the same things that I was paying $100 for on my parents' plan. Our lives move so fast, so it's understandable that some things kind of get dusted under the rug, but $40 a month versus $100, that's $60 of coffees and other expenses and things that I could be getting for free or, paying for with that money versus having to spend all this just, extra money on phone service, and especially paying for a phone service where it's just super difficult to get customer service, super difficult, you have to go to a store and get them to help you fix your phone and whatnot, where you could have all of the above in an app on your phone. So that is what you get with Visible. There's no hidden fees, no jacking up the prices randomly. You know exactly how much you're gonna pay per month, and it's all in your app too if you're ever curious about it. You can stream music, watch movies, call your mom, post on Instagram, everything, unlimited data, unlimited texting, unlimited messaging, everything you could possibly want for $40 a month, no strings attached, and you can pay via Venmo. They take Venmo, PayPal. Visible just gets it. They know that adulting is hard, and so they made their app super easy to navigate. The whole process of getting your phone service really shouldn't be difficult. I don't know why it's been made difficult in the past because Visible has made it super simple. And I'll have everything linked down below if you guys are curious about how to get started with Visible. I'll have all the links, all the details. It's super simple. You just download the app and go from there. You can use a pre-existing phone that you already have if it's compatible, and they overnight a SIM card that you just pop in, and then there you go, you're set up, which is really, really cool. Love anything that makes my life easy. It's literally overnighted to your apartment or your house. So yeah, that is tip number one, just getting smart about your life expenses, the things that you're spending money on. Make sure you're not spending money on things that you shouldn't be. Obviously, it's kind of a no-brainer, but it's actually a lot easier said than done to literally comb through, your expenses and the things that you spend money on and figure out, what's important. But then also I feel like sometimes we forget that we sign up for things. So in terms of money management, a lot of you guys ask me about budgeting and how I budget my money and things like that. I think the number one thing that I abide by is, when I'm looking to purchase something that's, a major investment or even a minor investment, I ask myself, Katie, in a year from now, one, will this still be in style? Number two, will you be mad at yourself for spending money on this thing? Will I still be using said thing in a year? And three, is it going to plunge me into debilitating debt? My first major investment or thing that I really spent a boatload of money on was my car when I had a car back in the day. And I asked myself those 3 questions, and obviously, you know, it passed because I had my beautiful Jeep Stella, white 4-door Jeep Wrangler Sport, for 4 beautiful years of my life. I think 3.5 actually, and that was great. Obviously, you don't need a car anymore, so I sold her, put all the money into savings, which was great. But essentially, it was one of those things where I had to make sure that I, you know, could afford to buy the car and still live, and you know, have to deal with insurance and things like that. So when you're buying a salad, it's not going to matter a year from now, really. But you know, bigger things like, you know, a new coat, or you know, I think there's a lot of hype, thank God, around sustainable fashion and around fashion that isn't fast, that you know, you could buy something and still be wearing it a year from now and not just throw it away, or you know, see it just scatter into the abyss. So in the same grain of savings and things like that, I guess I'll talk about, you know, where my paycheck goes and kind of my revenue streams and how I budget out my money from my various revenue streams. So 50% of my annual income comes from L'Oreal, and then 50% comes from, you know, a combination of all of my other things that I do. And that sounds like a little bit aggressive, but you'd be surprised how lucrative and how much money you can make from being a digital, you know, content creator. So I would say 50% definitely comes from L'Oreal. I make $65K a year from L'Oreal. That's after taxes, which is really great. And then I probably make very similar to that on the internet, but you know, obviously you have to factor in taxes. So for me, my L'Oreal money goes to my apartment, it goes to my food, my groceries, my water bill, my, you know, all of those adult things that I pay for. And then the other half of the pie, the 50% that I make from all of my digital side hustles, that's what I like to call them, although some of them do feel like full-time jobs now, side hustles, that all goes to either, you know, straight into the savings, which is the majority of where it goes, to be honest, straight into savings, or goes towards my fun things like traveling and little gifts for myself and things like that. But that's also before taxes. And the not so fun part of, you know, being a freelancer or doing any sort of side hustle classified projects, like working with brands on YouTube videos and Instagram and stuff like that, none of the taxes are deducted from those paychecks. So, you know, April 15th is a very fun day where I have to pay like $20,000 to the government. That's why it's important to work with an accountant. I work with one in Maryland, where I'm from. Obviously, I'm looking to find one in New York because I do want to like go in and sit down and talk about things with them and not just on the phone. I'm lucky not to have any student loans or debt, which I'm really thankful, like extremely thankful to my parents for giving me that reality, because it's not a reality for a lot of people. So that is something that I am blessed to not have, you know, debt or student loans. So New York is really, it's a very expensive place to live. I mean, that's not a secret, and I love living here, but it is like by the skin of my teeth that I can live here. That's why I don't buy designer things, really. I've, you know, bought myself one nice bag that I use for work, my Saint Laurent bag, and that is like the most expensive thing I've bought for myself that doesn't serve a purpose, like a car driving me places or a computer camera for making my videos, stuff like that. Like that is strictly fashion, and that is like the most expensive thing I've ever bought for myself. But aside from that, I really don't, you'll notice I'm not one of those people that just buys a ton of designer stuff and like really expensive things, and I don't even really go shopping that much, because my kind of mantra is whenever I bring something in to the apartment, I have to take something out of the apartment. So if I'm buying a whole ton of clothes and such, it's because I just donated a ton of stuff, or I, you know, sold things on Poshmark, which I'm trying to do more of, and things like that. So it's kind of my mantra, like when I bring something in, make sure you bring something out as well. So those are really important budgeting, money, expenses tips. But there's a whole lot of other adulting tips that I feel like no one really talks about. And the number one thing that I was thinking of when I was brainstorming this video was, you know, what differentiates me now in my current adult phase, you know, from when I was in college and kind of living recklessly. And I think the number one thing that I've done a lot better now, I won't say I'm an expert, but I'm getting better at not only budgeting my money, but budgeting my time. And to go even further, making sure that I'm spending my time with the right people, and knowing, being very clear and, you know, open, like I understand who the right people are and who the wrong people are. And knowing that I don't have to go out drinking every Friday night and every Saturday during the day and be hungover every Sunday. Like that's not something I need to do. And You know, I feel like sometimes we get so brainwashed into the idea that we have to do these fun things because we work all week, and so we have to just get wasted every weekend. You know, that's kind of something I've learned a lot of people value and a lot of people do in, you know, the first few years of post-grad, because, you know, we're 21, we're excited, whatever, but then we're just hungover all the time. So, you know, it is Sunday right now at like, I think noon or so, and I'm not hungover because I had a productive day yesterday, but still saw my friends and still was social, but like didn't drink my guts out, you know, which I think is something that I've definitely, it's definitely taken some time to learn. The people that you surround yourself with, you know, people always say this, it's like you become like the people you spend most of your time with. And so if you are spending your time with toxic people, you will become toxic, and it'll kind of be slow, but over time you'll realize that you're starting to value the wrong things. You're starting to think these really nasty thoughts about people. And so you have to just take a step back and think about, you know, who do you spend your time with most? Do you truly leave those gatherings, you know, being with those people? Do you leave those situations with a smile on your face thinking, oh, I'm so lucky I have these friends, or angry or self-loathing, or, you know, just any sort of negative feeling? Sorry, my camera stopped recording. Of course, every YouTuber says that. I always say this, but we work too darn hard during the week to spend our weekends with people that don't value us, doing things that aren't valuable for us. You know, we work too hard to have negative things pulling us back every weekend when we have a second of spare time to enjoy ourselves. So, you know, identify the fake friends and distance yourself from them. So next tip I want to talk about is about side hustles, hobbies, just finding other things in life. Because as an adult, yes, we have limited time for ourselves, but I think if you can find a hobby, something you love to do that also can generate money, like ding, 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 hit the jackpot, that is amazing. And I've actually been able to do it, so I want to talk a little bit about that. So as you guys know, this is very recent for me, very new. It's one of those things where it's been a long time in the making, but finally I just pulled the trigger and did it. I made a design account, Instagram account, design Instagram account, design shop, whatever you want to call it. Basically an Instagram account fully devoted to my graphic design and my just overall musings and creations and things like that, because I am a very creative person. As a lot of you guys know, I love just like getting my hands dirty and making things. Maybe not dirty, to be honest. I don't really like getting my hands dirty, but I like just creating things in any medium. Like I literally the other day ordered some stuff on Amazon so I could create makeup swatches. Like I'm really fascinated with the idea of just making like makeup swatches. So I bought like all of these little tools, and like I'm one of those people that just loves like random little artistic hobbies. So the other day I opened a design shop where you guys can place tattoo orders. I'm gonna eventually do a lot of other things like designs for resumes, business card designs, just overall, if you know, podcast artwork, Instagram artwork, whatever you want for your brand, if you have one, things like that. So a lot of things, wallpapers, you name it, I'm gonna make it eventually, slowly but surely, just doing, you know, what I can manage at a time. But yeah, that is very cool. It is a hobby that I love. I love creating things. I love you guys, and I love making money. So all those things combine into one. So think about the things you love, because while it isn't always extremely realistic to quit your 9-to-5 and start, you know, being a freelancer, this is a very like hard conversation to have, because obviously I know what my dream is. I know my dream is to not have a 9-to-5 and make my own hours, be my own boss, make my own creations, and do things like that. I feel like while it is the ultimate dream, and I can taste it, I can feel it, and I could very well do that, I also know in my heart that I need to make sure that I can survive on my own before I do that. You know, I need to make sure I have ample savings. I need to make sure that I've thought it through, you know? And I know that that doesn't sound sexy and exciting and spontaneous, but it's something that I know myself extremely well, and I know that that's what I need to do, and I have all the time in the world. You know, maybe not all the time, but I have time. I'm only 23, so I feel like, you know, it's my first year and a half in the city on my own. I have some time to think it through and really just visualize and create what I want, you know, my career. So right now, what I'm doing in the meantime is testing out all these various hobbies and side hustle situations, you know, the tattooing, the designing and all of those things while also doing the podcast. I'm a huge proponent of side hustles. I think, trying things here and there with minimal risk is a no-brainer. So, find a hobby, find something you do that isn't work. So even if it means, not getting paid for it, like, yes, it's the jackpot if you can get paid for the things you love to do, but if you can't, still do it for your own sanity, because I think that we all need 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 things that isn't our day job, that has nothing to do with our day job, just little things we love to do. If it means, I don't know, designing floral bouquets or something, just interior designing, like decorating your friends' apartments and, helping them find the perfect lampshade, I don't know, little things that you like to do, creating cocktails, cooking, that has nothing to do with your 9 to 5. It's actually extremely important. It's an extremely important component of adulting and just figuring out who the heck you are, because I feel like so many of us move so fast and do so much during the day that we feel like we have to do, that we lose ourselves and we completely just don't even know who the heck we are. I knew I would get very carried away with this topic, so I have some things written down that I do want to vocalize. Fast tips with Katie, this is a little segment we have here. Number 1, keep your phone away from you when you sleep. So don't sleep with your phone right next to your bed, because when your alarm goes off in the morning, you're gonna be all foggy with sleep and just turn off your alarm, and then that's how you oversleep. And also, you lay in bed on your phone for way too long at night if your phone is literally right next to you, tempting you. So sleep with your phone across the room. My bed's over there, I sleep with my phone in my kitchen, technically, because I have a studio. Number 2, fast tip, if you are in an apartment, renter's insurance. It's super important. I was very, stubborn for a little while and was like, I don't feel like signing up for renter's insurance. It wasn't even the cost, it was just like the idea of having to do it. It's really important, because if your apartment goes up in flames, a lot of buildings, most buildings, do not do anything for you about it. Like, all of your stuff burns down, okay, whatever. And I live with all of these other people in this building, and if some idiot burns down their apartment, mine is up in flames too, and then I lose all of my stuff and have no backup plan. So definitely invest in renter's insurance. They obviously, they look out for renters. That's the whole idea of renter's insurance. I used an app called Lemonade, and I signed up for renter's insurance super easily. It's $11 a month. If you're renting an apartment or a house or some sort of space, take pictures, hugely important. Take photos of every, nook and cranny of the apartment when you move in and when you move out, because sometimes, people that you rent from will try to say, oh, you made this hole in this wall that was already there when you moved in, but like, you have no proof that it was there when you moved in, so now you have to pay me X dollars, or you don't get your security deposit back, or a number of things. So definitely take photos, ample photos of your apartment before and after you move out. Number 3 little concept is imposter syndrome. I know I've talked about this in the past, but it's one of those things where, as an adult or as a new adult, like a fresh adult that I would say I am, like a freshman year of life adult, a lot of times we are truly faking it till we make it every single day of our lives, and in doing so we feel that we don't deserve to be where we are. We think there's so many other people that are way better at this than we are, and therefore we feel this imposter syndrome type of feeling where we just feel like we don't deserve to be where we are, or we're not cut out for this, and we're not smart enough, and a number of things. And I feel like the reason why we feel this is because no one else is honest about their feelings, about how they feel the exact same way, and that's the number 1 reason why we experience this, because we feel like everyone else is so confident and so at ease and so smart and whatever, but we don't realize that in a lot of professional jobs, people know how to talk. They've trained themselves to know how to talk, to make themselves sound smarter. They come across as way more with it than they truly are. Don't feel like you don't deserve, where you are and what you have, because you do. You truly do. I've said this before. There's so many people involved in the hiring process, so you would not be in this role if you didn't deserve and you weren't cut out for it. Okay, another really important tip that I'm really bad at, but I'm working on. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I am actually the worst at this. I hate asking for help. I hate, telling people my problems and having them, have to help me in any way, shape, or form. Like, I'm really bad at that. You can do anything you set your mind to, true, but you can't do everything, okay? And you need to lean on others for help sometimes, or when you really need them, okay? There are gonna be times where you feel like you don't know what direction you're going in, you don't know what your end goal is, what your path even should look like, and it gets extremely overwhelming, and a lot of us start to give up and start to relinquish control of our lives to just the greater society and follow all the rules and do everything we think we're supposed to do and ignore what brews deep in our soul and what we actually want to do. So I think it's important to know that on the path to finding yourself, you're going to fall down, you're going to have moments where you feel like a total idiot, but just know that everyone experiences it, okay? And a lot of times, you know, we get super discouraged and we just want to crawl back, you know, home into our mom's arms and not try for anything. And I feel you, I'm there with you a lot of times, but just know that everything you're doing right now is getting you one step closer to the person that you've always wanted to be. And one day when you have kids and you can look back and, you know, tell them about your journey, you'll have wisdom to share. You'll be someone that your kids can come to when they need help on certain things because you've already done all of those things. You've already been through all of those hardships. And so just do your best. Sometimes you're gonna have a really horrible day where you feel like you got nothing accomplished and, you know, you just did the bare minimum, and that's okay because, you know, you just gotta tell yourself, I did what I could today and that is all I could do. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys, you know, gleaned some knowledge or some adulting tips from this video, and I do encourage you guys to have an open discussion in the comments below and just talk about various things you've learned in your, you know, journey to adult. Yeah, so that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys all in my next one. Bye!